Hello, everyone. I'm Meteorologist Lisa Green here with a look at a very active week ahead of us this week. Thanks for joining us on Valley News Now, on our YouTube page and Facebook Live as we go over the very busy wintry weather that's going to hit us here in the Red River Valley. Thanks for those who've been waiting for 10:30 to roll around. I know we're on a little bit late. Thanks for your patience. A lot to go over, a lot to review before we're going on. And one thing I want to mention is that if you're watching on our Facebook Live, please feel free to ask some questions. I'll check in on those once I'm done going over everything, see if I can answer some of your questions here as we talk about that potential for our first winter storm this season and just wintry weather in general taking over after what was a beautiful and warm weekend this weekend. So it's Thanksgiving week, and we know that's a huge travel week for the year, and we've got concerns both leading up to Thanksgiving and after Thanksgiving. So let's get right to it. We're going to talk about our headlines here. So first of all, holiday travel hazards. We're going to be seeing, again, leading up to Thanksgiving, the potential for wintry weather, our first widespread snow and accumulating snow. Now, not everybody's going to get hit by heavy amounts of snow, but the possibility is there that you could see some. And regardless of how much snow you see, there will be some wind, and there will be much colder air taking over here this week for everybody. So it's going to feel like winter, regardless of how wintry it looks to you. And so this is for this first system. So we've got first alert weather days for the one moving in that we'll be talking about pretty heavily here in just a moment. And then between that one and the next system, just a cold Thanksgiving. It's kind of nice that the holiday itself will be on the quieter side, on the drier side. It's just going to be a bit chilly here heading into Thanksgiving, and there'll probably be some slick spots still out there from this first round. And then heading home from your Thanksgiving events, heading out for Black Friday weekend shopping. We do have another wintry round moving through the region. This one we'll be watching for perhaps it moving a little bit south of the valley, but still a possibility to impact us. So we're going to get into that. And of course, the cold that we've been forecasting for a while for the start of December. This is the pattern we've been seeing for weeks now, and we were eyeing this potential for more active weather last week as well. We first alerted you to that last week. So here we go. Let's talk about what we can expect as we are heading into Thanksgiving. First thing, though, is just if you'll allow me to take one little step back, we're going to look at what we saw yesterday. I mean, who doesn't want to bask in yesterday and the weekend's beautiful weather? Sunday we had record warmth in Fargo. We reached a high of 62 degrees. It was just beautiful. Jamestown as well saw a record of 60 degrees. So we've got some weather whiplash going on here. We go from this beautiful weather that we experience, this little bonus weather, to, again, dealing with the potential for snow, wind, and cold as well, as early as tonight and into Tuesday, and then more opportunities or threats, depending on how you look at it, for snow and colder temperatures coming up throughout the week. So again, just wanted to draw that comparison that this is going to be a bit of a shock. And that high on Tuesday around 30 degrees, that might be in the morning hours. It's looking like we might be seeing those temperatures dropping through the day. So that's something to keep in mind as well. It's definitely going to feel chilly. So, okay, we're going to talk first of all our first alert weather day, this first round moving in. So let's break down impacts and just kind of the highlights here. Our first alert weather day officially for Tuesday and then lasting into Wednesday morning, because even though the system will be winding down, we'll still have some impacts for that morning drive on Wednesday. And again, snow and wind, the biggest thing here. We're looking at the significance of this event is not only that we have the potential for a winter storm for some of us, not all of us getting into that 6-inch category of snow, but it's the fact that we've got several inches of snow possible. We haven't seen that yet this season, and so it's our first winter event of the season, first winter driving event of the season. We all know that first time we're driving on snow, we've got to kind of remember our winter driving skills. It can be a little more dangerous as everybody's trying to get their snow legs under them, we'll say, as far as driving in the snow. And it's not just that, it's the busiest travel week of the year. So this is a significant event that has the potential for even greater impacts than it would if it were happening later in the season during a week where not as many people are hitting the road. But on top of that, we're looking at this range of 3 to 6 plus maybe inches of snow possible for some of us. And that leads to slick roads, and that leads to reduced visibility when we add in the wind as well. So again, we haven't seen that yet this year, and so we just want to make sure we are giving you all the information so you can make the right decision for you on when and whether to travel here as we head through the week this week. So let's get to it. We've got our winter storm watch. It covers most counties in our viewing area and beyond. You can see a few here. Pembina, Kitson, and Roseau County not included in this. Northern Valley is the area where that chance for the heavier snow is less. And so they've kind of been carved out of this winter storm watch. It doesn't mean that if you're there, you're not going to experience wintry weather. It's just impacts maybe a lot less for you. So we're going to get into details coming up on that. But this is kind of a staggered start. The watch starts out west first, and then continues to start as you go farther east. And because the reason for that is because that's the movement of the storm. And so we're just kind of doing an overview here saying it's starting tonight through Tuesday is when we're really watching out for the heart of this system here. So again, winter storm watch. We'll likely get some updated headlines as we head into this afternoon, as we get closer to the onset of this system for parts of North Dakota especially. And so stay tuned for that. We'll be passing that along for you as the day goes on. So talking about our travel planner as we continue on through the week this week, this is leading up to Thanksgiving. Just want to give you an overview again before we get into the details on timing. For today, really looking good. We've got the green light here, meaning low impact travel going on. Good daytime travel, especially as we get further into the day, into this afternoon and tonight. If you're traveling west into more parts of North Dakota, especially beyond our viewing area, so beyond eastern North Dakota, you're going to start running into some of these impacts here. But overall, today's looking pretty good. Tonight, we've got, that yellow light, a little greater impact here as that snow or a mix starts to move in. And that's going to move in again later tonight, and then overnight spreading over the valley, changing to snow pretty early on as we go through this event. And then Tuesday is our big impact day. That's our high impact day. We're looking at that red light there. We're watching for areas of steady snow. And then on top of that, some increasing wind and decreasing temperatures, and those can all combine for accumulations, for tough visibility as the snow is getting blown around, and slick roads. So Tuesday is going to be our toughest day. Wednesday, we may see some flakes in the morning, but the snow will be tapering off. Still on the breezy side, still on the windy side, roads still slick and cold too. So we want to be prepared. I know Wednesday, huge travel day on a huge travel week right ahead of Thanksgiving. So want to make sure we're prepared for running into issues on the roads from what's left of this system that's been moving through at that point in time. So that's kind of an overview of this first round. Let's talk about arrival times here. So, we don't want to get caught off guard. We want to make sure we're ready for this. So, precip arrival time, again, west to east is the bottom line. So, Devil's Lake, James River Valley area, that's the western part of our viewing area. Of course, if you're in Bismarck and you're watching this from Minot or western parts of North Dakota, it's going to be sooner than this. But for our viewing area, we'll see that initial light mix and snow already starting into late this evening. For the immediate Red River area, a little farther east, right in the heart of the valley, snow chances will increase overnight and carry over into about daybreak tomorrow, and we'll see that ramp up for Red River area. Now, if you're more east, more into the Minnesota Northwoods, places like Bemidji, you're looking at that snow moving in as the morning goes along, and eventually that will take over into your area. So you should be fine for tonight in those areas in the east. But those of us out west are going to need to start watching here, heading into tonight for that system to start moving in. So leading up to that, we've got beautiful weather. You can see the sun right behind our shot here. It looks like we've got, is that a plane? It's a bird, it's a plane flying by there. This is up by the airport here. You can see downtown, just that beautiful sun. It's our bonus day ahead of what's to come. We're looking at temperatures that are fairly mild, into the mid-30s right now. Wind, that's not too strong. It's out of the north. We'll stay kind of in the teens for wind during the daytime hours. And again, lots of sun. And then taking a look at our planner, you could see temperatures climbing into some 40s for this afternoon. So Not as warm as yesterday, not setting any records today, but still mild. Average high, I believe, is 34 degrees in Fargo or somewhere around that. And so we're looking at, a good 10 plus degrees above average, and again, that northerly breeze. And then eventually you see those clouds starting to build in toward the end of our planner here, heading into drive time tonight. That's the lead up to the system that'll be moving in. So afternoon planner around the region, you could see around 40 along the border to upper 40s to around 50 in the south. So that's today, and it's looking good. So now's your time to take care of what you need to before the snow moves in. So here's a look at your radar and satellite map. We're nice and clear, sunny in lots of spots, a few more clouds up by places like Langdon and the Rolla area. And then farther west, there's our system. You can see snow stretching from Alberta Clipper, that's how we get that name, stretching down toward Montana. And this is all going to be starting to work eastward, and I'm starting to see just a few areas, a few spots of blue in western North Dakota already here. So again, starting to approach our region. And I'm going to zip ahead to tonight when it's starting to move into our viewing area here in our hour-by-hour planner. So you can see with this particular model that we've got ongoing snow in central and western North Dakota around 10 o'clock. We may have a few flakes starting up in our western viewing area, the Devil's Lake and James River Valley area. And again, it starts filling in more and more overnight into eastern North Dakota. And there is a little bit of green here you see on the map, and there is that potential for a mix or even a little bit of light rain initially before that changeover to snow. That's something we'll be watching for tonight. But eventually we do see that changeover to all snow. By 5 a.m., we've got snow going on across I-94 through North Dakota with this particular scenario, and the potential for snow already starting up in parts of Minnesota, again, right along that Red River area. And this is right when, we're waking up, getting ready to head out the door to send the kids out to the bus stop. So this is something, you'll want to maybe get up earlier for, be ready for it as you are getting your day started, just in case you are already seeing snow or starting to see snow move through. And we'll be right here on the Valley today, keeping you covered. I'll be tracking that tomorrow morning, and we'll have a reporter out keeping an eye on things, and we'll be keeping an eye on our road conditions as well and passing us along to you. So tune back in on the Valley today tomorrow morning. And then moving on into the 9 o'clock hour, it spreads more into Minnesota. One thing you may notice, the northern valley, north of Highway 2, not as great a chance of snow, and that's been looking pretty consistent, that we're looking at lesser chances for snow along the border and better chances the farther south you go. So Highway 2 is going to be an interesting area of potential steep drop-off in snow amounts, including Grand Forks. So we could be, somewhere around that 1-inch range in Grand Forks, or you could get several inches of snow there. Again, there's going to be a steep drop-off there. And then farther south, that's where we're more solid in that chance for some several inches of snow possible in the southern half of the valley, about Highway 200 and points south, looking more likely. So again, this is Saturday morning. Watch that wind too. That starts to pick up as the day goes on. We start to see gusts more into the 30s, 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. This is noon, ongoing. Again, Highway 2 points south. And again, the track could wobble a little bit. It could move a little farther north. So I don't want you to think that you're out of the woods for snow if you're along the border area. It's just that your chances are less. And don't be surprised if you don't see much snow in that area. And then again, Grand Forks kind of right in that cutoff. So that'll be interesting to see what we end up with there. And so looking at that snow continuing into the afternoon, continuing on into the 3 o'clock hour, it's starting to come down out west. And then by the time we get into the 6 o'clock hour, it really is starting to ease up for places like Jamestown. Fargo may still be getting snow at that point. Over into Lakes Country in Minnesota, driving down 94 all the way to the Twin Cities tomorrow afternoon into the evening. If you're thinking about taking that route, you may be dealing with snow that whole way during that time frame. And then again, we've got that wind associated with it too. And then this is 6 p.m. We'll move into the nighttime hours. This is around 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. The snow's really tapering off in this model. It's possible it'll linger a little bit longer into the overnight hours. And I can't rule out a spotty flake or a spotty snow shower as that colder air is rushing in overnight Tuesday night and heading into Wednesday morning. And so we do have that first alert weather day lasting into Wednesday morning because, again, we'll have fresh snow on the ground that we'll still need to clean up. Roads will be slick and snowy in spots, and we'll be dealing with a cold north wind that might be blowing some of that snow around because our temperatures will be staying below freezing at that point. So that's that system moving on. So it really is looking at like late tonight through Tuesday night, essentially, being the time frame where we have the best chance for accumulating snow and greatest impacts from this system. So let's take a look at our snowfall potential. So there's some things I want to stress here. We're looking at an event that's happening, earlier on in the season. Ground's still pretty warm. Our temperatures are starting off warm with this one too. So there's going to be what I have written up here, some melting, some compaction. What is compaction? Well, heavy wet snow, it's heavy, so it compacts a little bit more. So that means when you stick your ruler in it to measure it, it might be compacted a little bit compared to when it first fell. And so measurements might not necessarily match up exactly with what's possible, but you can see we've got a decent shot at some snow here in the valley, in especially the south. So again, there's going to be a cutoff. You can see those areas that are outside of the watch right now. This particular model has us with no snow in some of those areas. So again, we're looking at maybe up to an inch of snow in areas especially closer to the border. Grand Forks, 1 to 3 inches of snow. And then you can see farther south this medium blue color. And it's kind of spotty on this model, but I would say anywhere in the southern half of the valley, we're in that 3 to 6 inch range. And there may be some areas, it's looking possible, and several models are showing that the moisture is there for it, that there will be areas of 6+ inches in the south. And so you can see this particular model plots it here and in a couple other pockets here. It could be anywhere, again, south of Highway 2 that we see a 6-inch report or more in some locations. So that's obviously going to be impactful if we see that amount. But generally speaking, more in that 3 to 6 inch range or under 6 inches in those areas in the south. And the wild card is how much of this melts before we start to get accumulation. So the takeaway really here is that we're going to see more snow than we've seen so far this season. Some of us haven't had any measurable snow yet this season. And it's going to fall during a time when a lot of people are on the road, and it's falling with some wind too. And so visibility is going to be reduced. So regardless of whether it's 1 inch or 6 inches, it's still going to impact your plans and your travel here heading into the day on Tuesday and even into early Wednesday. So let's look at snowfall potential. I want to talk about the wind here. This is our wind gust planner map. So the numbers on the map are in wind gust miles per hour. And so see, as we head through time through Tuesday morning, it's not too bad to start off Tuesday morning. We'll have some gusts in the 20s. And once we get into Tuesday, later morning, I should say early morning, not too bad. Once we get into 9 a.m., we've got some gusts starting to pick up into the 30s, and then it really picks up into midday and into the afternoon. I've paused the clock here at 5:30, and you can see it's breezy, but not terrible in the north. Closer to the heart of this system, it is stronger. We're looking at gusts up to about 40 miles per hour for some. And so again, that could be impactful for visibility, for some drifting potential, especially as our temperatures drop on Tuesday. And so this is areas in the south will be the greatest impacted by the wind as well. Traveling down I-29, I-94 again. Now this is 8 a.m. on Wednesday, still on the windy side. At this point, the snow is pretty much ended, but we're dealing with the wind still. So that's still a factor with the potential for any snow that is loose, a little more loose. It might get blown around a little bit more here heading into Wednesday morning. And then once we get into Wednesday afternoon, it starts to ease up. But it's going to take a minute for that wind field to kind of relax a little bit here heading into the day on Wednesday. So snow and wind over the course of a couple of days. We know today is going to be a nice day. Looking at our temperatures heading into Tuesday, you can see our warmest numbers for the daytime will be in the low to mid 30s. Again, that's probably going to be more in the morning hours. And so that's why that might be a factor in, when we get the initial snow, that there may be some melting going on. But you can see everywhere on our list here has the potential for snow. Wednesday, below freezing, into the low to upper 20s around the valley, and still some wind out there too. So we stay below freezing, meaning that snow's not going anywhere unless we move it ourselves. And so looking at conditions that are going to be not so pleasant to travel on Wednesday, trying to deal with the leftover snow and the colder temperatures. And so let's get into Thanksgiving. It is looking quieter. It is looking to be cold, but definitely taking a break between systems for Thanksgiving. Temperatures are going to be more into the 20s for highs with some more partly cloudy skies, so chilly. We'll be on the dry side, though, heading into Thanksgiving, it's looking like right now. So that's kind of our little silver lining here, that, you know, if you're just driving across town or maybe making a day trip on Thanksgiving, the threat isn't as, for hazardous travel, isn't as great as Tuesday and lingering into Wednesday. And then again for the next system, that's going to be coming in for us as well. So there's our Thanksgiving forecast. Not going to dwell on that too long. I do want to talk about the next round. So let's get into that really quick. I won't get into as much detail. We're more focused on this first one coming our way, but we want you to be aware of what's coming toward the end of the week and the potential for it to impact your drive home. As we, or maybe you're heading out to do some Friday shopping and weekend shopping, how this may impact you. And as we get closer, we'll have more details on what's going to happen here. But this just gives you an overview. We're going to start Thanksgiving night, nice and quiet, not much going on, just cold. And then moving on into the overnight hours, Black Friday shoppers, we're not looking not too bad. This is 6 a.m. on Friday. And once we'll just zip through the day here, heading into the morning, later morning and into midday, you can see the system starting to take shape. There's some snow out west, South Dakota. And what our longer range models are hinting at is that this is going to be a little more south. And so as we head into the evening on Friday, you can see that there is a chance for snow, but a lot of it's happening toward South Dakota, toward I-90. And then eventually this does move toward Minneapolis too. So if you need to drive in that direction, that's going to be a problem. And for those of us in the southern half of the valley, at least right now, it looks like we still need to watch this one for impacts and the possibility for some snow. So that's heading into Friday night, and now Saturday morning at 6 a.m. you can see the snow more toward southern Minnesota starting to move out. And what this will do is kind of bring us a reinforcing shot of cold air, and we double down on the chill that we are going to experience here heading into the end of this week. So by Saturday afternoon, a few spotty snow showers making their way through, but overall not as intense as what we may see Friday night into Saturday. There's still, you know, some room for some changes to happen here as we're looking ahead to the end of the week. But that's that second system for anybody traveling after Thanksgiving that we've also got our eye on, and we're also first alerting to. So here we go. We're getting ready for winter to hit here. I know we've had a little taste of it already this season, but this is going to be more widespread, and again, more chances for snow to impact your travel and time on the road. So just want to kind of review some things. Maybe you're new to the valley, so you're not used to winter weather, and none of us are really used to it yet. So, you know, it's always that first storm of the season that kind of sneaks up on you, even if you know, like in your head, what to do. Your body doesn't always respond like it should when it comes to driving in winter weather. So we want to set you up for some success here. So here's a look at just some reminders for winter travel safety. When it comes to winter storms, it's always a good idea to just kind of consider the timing of it, and do you need to even travel when the worst of it's coming through? If you can reschedule travel for a little earlier than the storm, or maybe wait until the worst of it passes, that's ideal when it comes to, you know, several inches of snow being possible and some wind. If you are traveling, make sure you share your travel plans, not just saying, okay, I'm gonna head over to Bismarck later today, or I'm going to be driving up toward Bemidji later today. Let people know the path you're going to take. Bismarck's pretty obvious. You're going to be heading down I-94, but say you're going up to Bismarck, share the route you're taking. So if you run into trouble on the route and the timeline that you expect to leave and arrive, and if you don't arrive at your location, folks know where to start looking for you so that you can get you out of the ditch if you end up in one. Hopefully not. Hopefully we don't have any of that happening with this event, but we know it does happen sometimes. So always a good idea to share those travel plans. Have that full gas tank, of course. That's a given. And never let it drop below half tank in the winter time. So you have that supply of gas for you if you run into trouble. Have your phone fully charged before you leave the house. Survival kit, really important. We'll go over a couple of things that you can have in your kit here heading into the winter season. And then if you do get stranded, call for help, and then stay with your car. Never want to wander away or try to go to, you know, maybe you see a farmstead down the way. You know, we are looking at wind, so we're looking at blowing snow, and you might lose visibility of it on the path and get disoriented and then get caught outside. We don't want that to happen to anybody. So again, stay with your car if you get stranded, and stay informed, you know, any way you can. We, of course, want you to turn to us to get your information, but always want to make sure that you have ways of being informed about the weather. The VNL weather app, of course, a great tool that we always want to share with you. And we'll be right here keeping you up to date throughout the event. So those are just some tips here. Here's a look at how to winterize your car, be winter ready with your car. Again, at least a half tank of gas at all times in the winter. Make sure your tire pressure is good. If you can afford snow tires, make sure you've got snow tires on your car. That helps a lot. And then just having in your vehicle blankets to stay warm if you become stranded, non-perishable food. High-calorie food, too, is good. You know, some of those energy bars can really be helpful. Some water, non-frozen, so we don't want to let that just sit in your car and get frozen. Warm clothes, extra layers, and more than enough for everybody who will be traveling with you. Tools to dig out, so a shovel, you know, a tow rope, that kind of thing. Jumper cables in case your car battery dies. Cat litter or sand to help get traction. And a first aid kit. And there are more things that you can include in your survival kit in your car, and we have a link to that on our website. I believe the title is 2025 Winter Survival Kit. So if you Google or search that on our website, you'll find it. I'll share that on our social media as well, so you can have access to that. So just, again, some tips. I know a lot of us, this is old hat for us, but it's good to be reminded, and it's good to help folks who maybe this is their first winter. So looking at driving tips here, I think this is a given. Slow down whenever we have active weather going on. It takes longer to stop in the ice and snow, even longer than when we've got rain. And cruise control, avoid it during snowy times. I know it's annoying to have to keep your foot on the gas pedal, but it's really important to avoid cruise control in case you start to hit a patch of ice. Remove ice and snow from your vehicle. So if you're parked outside and you get snow on your car, clear those windows and mirrors and lights of snow and ice, and have those headlights and taillights on during winter weather events. And then skidding, not everybody has experience driving on icy conditions or snowy conditions. What do you do when you get into a skid? Well, no matter what, we're going to avoid accelerating or braking too hard with icy conditions out there. And if you do start to skid, don't slam on the brakes. I know that's our instant reaction to do so, but you want to just kind of gently lift off the accelerator and then turn into the direction of the skid to regain control. So just some tips here again as we are moving into our first winter weather event of the season. And then one more, and I'll try to stop preaching at you, but it's good to be reminded of this. Shovel safely. This is going to be a wet snow, a heavy snow. For those of us who get several inches, that can be tough for shoveling. They call, heavy wet snow heart attack snow for a reason. It can be really a strain. And when you're out in the cold, exercising, your blood vessels constrict too, and that could lead to issues on top of just the overexertion potential. So just some reminders, if you do have some health issues, maybe ask a friend or neighbor or family member to do that for you. You want to push instead of lifting, that helps. Dress in those layers, wear those warm boots, and take lots of breaks as you're dealing with the snow here during the winter months. So here we go. We're heading into the season. And great way to stay informed, again, is the VNL weather app. You can check the latest radar, the latest forecast. And one other thing that you can do is on the homepage, scroll down to road conditions and see what's going on in the direction you're traveling. You click on that button right there, and that will open up to a page that has access to North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota road maps. So you can see what's being reported. You can check DOT cams there and see what might be coming down in those areas. And you can do that all in the app. You can also do that right on the valleynewslive.com page. So here's our planner. We are looking at an active week, bottom line, as we are getting into, well, it's been about a little close to 30 minutes now that we've been talking about this. Today is our day to get things done. So if you need to put up Christmas decorations and don't want to do it in the cold, today's a good day for that. I did that this weekend. And make sure your snowblower is ready to go. Start it up, check it, and see if it's ready to go. Know where your shovel is, so you can dig yourself out if you need to. Have your winter survival kit in your car. Hopefully you've prepped your house for winter weather already. If not, today's a good day to do that. If you don't want to be out running errands in the middle of weather, I'm not saying that things are going to shut down or anything like that, but if you can avoid driving out in the snow, that's great. Today's the day to run those errands if you want to, or wait till Thanksgiving or next week if you don't need to, because it does get more tough to get around once we get into Tuesday. So Tuesday, again, looking at conditions that are going to be snowy, windy and getting colder, and that carries over into Wednesday. The snow tapers off, still dealing with breezy weather and colder temperatures. Thanksgiving, we get that break, and then 2 more first alert weather days, Friday and into Saturday, for that second system after Thanksgiving that we're watching that has potential to impact the Dakotas and Minnesota for holiday travel home with that chance for some snow. And that one, again, brings us that second shot of cold air. And so here we go, ending November on a chilly note and starting December on a pretty cold note here. We're looking at high temperatures heading into December that are in the teens and lows in the single digits. And you know, we've done this before. It's not the end of the world, but it feels like a bit of a shock when you go from 62 degrees yesterday to the teens by the time we move a week ahead to next Sunday. Will be highs in the teens. So we just want you to be ready for those changes and to be ready for the active weather and snowy weather and the wintry weather as we are looking ahead into the holiday weeks. I'm going to pull this up for you full screen, and while you take a look at that 11-day planner again and make your holiday travel plans, I'm going to take a quick look at our Facebook page and see if anybody's asked any questions that I might be able to answer for you, and get you ready here again for the holiday travel week. No questions. Okay, guys. Now's your chance to ask what you need to know. Hopefully there are no questions because I've answered all of them for you already with my update here. I'm hoping that I've given you what you need to know to make your plans and time out your travel to head to where you need to be here this holiday season. So again, the chances for snow and wind, it all starts up tonight. We've got that winter storm watch that will likely be updated as we head further into the day today. And so check back with us. The evening crew, the afternoon team, will be back on later on today to update you on any new information. Of course, we get forecast models coming in all the time, so we'll have some new model runs to interpret and help give us, again, our best idea of what we think is going to happen. But right now it does look like a lot of places have the potential for picking up that first accumulating snow of the season. Just in time, unfortunately, for this holiday travel week. So if you are planning to travel, again, just make sure you're informed and you're giving yourself plenty of time and avoiding travel during those toughest times when we're seeing this system move through. And I hope you are safe travels and have a great holiday. If you are going to hang around, you can always come back and check our forecast right here on Valley News Live on TV. And obviously, if you're traveling beyond the valley, you can still access our forecast online on our weather app. And one thing that I love to just kind of push when it comes to our weather app is that if you're not even going to be in the valley, you can still get important weather information through it. You just need to set the settings on it to follow you where you're going. So on the road, if there's an alert issued where you are, you'll get that where you are by setting that alert. And I'll be sharing a little tutorial about how to set that up on your phone here coming up this morning or today. And hopefully that will be a helpful tool as you're heading to your holiday destinations. Okay, so have a great Monday. Enjoy this last quiet day, and we'll be back here tomorrow talking about snow that will be affecting some of us here in the valley. We'll see you tomorrow.